Alright guys, so we received several parts in the mail, and we got parts back from the shop as well. So essentially it's mail time, and I'd like to share with you what I've received. So the first and probably most exciting thing would be our rear cylinder head. Now, just like last time, we have the old valve guides. Sorry about the noise, by the way, there's some airplanes flying overhead. But we have the old valve guides, and of course these are essentially just trash. And you guys all remembered what this looked like when we had it sent out. And just like the front cylinder head, I am extremely happy with the results. This came out great. You can see, looking inside, they did the bluing to make sure we have good contact when the valves are seated. Got the new valve seals, and it just looks great. So I would definitely recommend Southeast Cylinder Head here in Orlando. They do excellent work, and I will definitely be using them for any future builds. Now, the next thing would be our cylinder. Now, the jug had some rust in it, the piston looked all messed up, and you can still see a little bit of the remnant where that rust used to be. They put some oil in there for me, but it is a complete night and day difference. I had them hone the cylinder, and we've got brand new piston rings in here. So this thing is ready to go. So I'll move this out of the way. This came from a shop that I didn't realize it at the time, but it was only an hour away from me, and I purchased it while I was out of town. And it's from a shop that I've purchased many parts from. They get salvaged or totaled bikes in, and they strip them down and sell all the parts individually. So I believe this is going to be our air temperature sensor that goes inside of the air box. And it looks like it. Looks like it's pretty well packaged. Alright. Here it is. This was the description. 06 Buell Buell XB12R air intake temp sensor. And it looks just like the picture. And just to give them a little plug, I got this from Harley Strippers. They're located in Melbourne, Florida, but they also have an eBay store, and I've purchased several parts from them in the past, so really great people to work with. This looks pretty cool. I think I know what this is. I want to say this is a new air filter for the Buell. And it looks like it sure is. That's cool. Should be everything I need right here. And it's a UNI or Uni air filter for Buell XB12R to 08, and we are a 2006. So this should work nicely. The last part that I received is the one I'm most excited about. So, if you watched the first video, you saw that we discovered water in the engine. And we discovered rust on the fuel injectors and inside the throttle body. So I found what appeared to be a throttle body in very good shape for a very fair price. Alright, that's good. Looks like the butterfly valve works okay. A little bit of surface rust on the top, No big deal. I think it's surface rust. I might clean it up before we install it. But so the story behind this whole bike, according to the previous owner, was this butterfly valve broke on the original throttle body, or it got stuck. And so then he left it and put it in storage, and then he sold it to me. But what I think happened is he left this thing open and exposed, and he may have tried to replace it with a new throttle body, but he never covered this. So when it rained, water got past this valve, and as you can see, it goes straight into either side of the engine. So most of the water was on the in the rear cylinder, at least from the pictures and from the earlier video that we could tell. But so I still have another throttle body. Well, David from Just the Other Dave YouTube channel, who helped me in the first video, he was going to help me clean the original one. So my plan is, since this already has the injectors installed, you can see they look good. They don't look rusted at all, which is great. To just have replaced those fuel injectors on the original was going to be about 85 bucks. And I got this entire setup for, I think it was $88. So we're going to install this one, and I'm going to clean up the other throttle body and either keep it as a spare set, or we'll sell it, we'll attempt to try to sell it to another bike stripping company and see if they're interested. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up all the parts. And you've seen the complete reinstallation of the front cylinder, so I'm not going to go step by step in this video, or at least this segment of the video, to show all those steps. So it's going to be just one big time lapse until we go to install this throttle body, and then it's really going to be time to start looking at putting the frame back on. So enjoy this next time lapse, and we'll see you on the other side.
Over the edge, feel like I'm floating through the air. The pain I felt is paid for, all is said and done. Oh, I am restricted, fixed upon the web. I need to kick the habit that my mind is breathing in. Break out, I've got to see. Discontent, I'm finally facing exaggerated, that's what you assume. The story's over now, I must conclude. I am conflicted, watching where I step still, hanging in the balance, not the life I want to live. I want to take it all, standing tall, fear outweighed the person you are. Oh, break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless.
Alright guys, so just like that we have successfully put back together the entire top end of both cylinder 1 and cylinder 2. Now it's time to get back to the original issue, which was the throttle body. So I have picked up a new throttle body off of an equivalent year. I believe this was off of an 05, either an 04 or 05, and what we have here is an 06. So I believe this gets installed just like this. You get the idea. But I've got to set everything up. I've got a new set of gaskets for the manifold, and that came with the top end rebuild gasket kit. So we'll be installing those new gaskets, and I'm going to bolt this thing up before we drop the frame over top of the engine, because removing this with the frame installed was a pain in the butt. Alright, so I just ran to the store and picked up some iridium spark plugs, NGK, for the Buell, and I got some anti-seize thread lubricant. I want to install these spark plugs before I put the frame on, because believe it or not, there's really limited access to install these once the frame has been installed. In fact, I think it's the Buell YouTube channel that recommends using a hose, sliding it over the spark plug, a bent hose, and twisting it to reinstall a spark plug. So I don't know, I'd rather just do it while I've got the frame off. So next, I've got these breather hoses, and these are one of the last things I'm going to have to take care of or install before we put the frame back on. And you can see this one is for the rear, cylinder number 2. And this hose appears to be in fine shape. So we're going to leave this exactly how it is, just clean it up and reinstall it. Now this one, I don't know if the camera can pick that up, but there is a break. It's cut here, so this won't fly, and we're going to have to replace it. Now, at your local auto parts store, I found this, which is very similar in shape and diameter to this guy. Now I think the diameter is slightly larger, so I'm definitely going to have to clamp this down, but I think it will still work. So I'm going to go ahead and try fitting this on and see how it fits. Okay, so the diameter of this one is just too big for my liking. Now I could clamp it on here and we would probably have an okay seal, but I don't know why I didn't think of this before. I just cut off just past where it was split, and putting the hose back on the engine, it looks like we have more than enough length. So I'm literally just going to put this right back on, and I'll get another zip tie, and I think we'll call it a day for this guy. So now that we've got our hose zip tied on here, we should be able to just slide this on in. I think I may put just a little bit of oil or grease on here. I don't know. Looks like it'll just pop right on. Yeah, that works. That'll work. And depending on where this needs to go, I think it's going up to the airbox area, we can adjust so we have enough length. Here is the one for the rear cylinder. Pretty sure they go something like that. We'll find out soon enough. All right, I have applied some thread lubricant to our spark plugs, and I'm just gonna screw them in by hand first. Trusty torque wrench. Get it dialed up here. Right now I'm at 26 from the Alright, 2 clicks. And that'll do it. That would have been a pain to do with the frame on. So at this point I'm going to do another once over, make sure there's nothing else that I need to hook up or connect before putting the frame on. But I think at this point we're ready to go. So a question that I have is, can I put the exhaust on before putting the frame back over the bike? Now, I kind of did this almost at the same time when I was moving the frame before. I dropped the exhaust and then I removed the frame because this sensor was in the way. And as you can see, it got a little bit beat up, and I looked at replacing it, but surprisingly, well, not surprisingly, other used sensors that I found online were also beat up in the same way. So I think other people have had difficulty removing that, or removing the exhaust without denting this. So I kind of want to chance it and put the exhaust on first because it is a little bit cumbersome, and then try to put the frame on. And if the frame really won't go on, then we'll just remove the exhaust again. So that's kind of the plan.